What's up? Hope everyone's having a great day and is ready for another video in the series we like to call Underrated Throwers. Now today we got I guess very special thrower. It's a woman's jab thrower, so a first on the channel, and really I think, I'm trying to avoid saying her name because I don't know how to really say it. I'll give it a try. Osleidys Menéndez. I know I butchered that. She's a Cuban jab thrower, second furthest thrower ever for women's jab. As you can see from the title here, 71.70. So, and it's the old world record, which she held for like 8 years or so. I'll put all her accomplishments, her personal best, her height and weight in the video description. But I think she's very underrated, and I think women's javelin throw is just very underrated. One, because, if might get in trouble for saying this, but to be quite honest, women's javelin throw is like the least popular of the throwing events, just because they don't really throw very far, and it's not even their fault, because like the women's javelin itself isn't designed to even go far, because it's just so weirdly balanced. It's just too light, and like it doesn't fly properly compared to the men's jab. Hence why there's like a 30 to 40 meter gap in the world records. A guy throwing 71 meters, that's nothing. That would maybe make the NCAA final. So, but for women, it's the second furthest throw ever. So, today I just want to give a women's jab throw, and women's jab throwers in general some love today. Not like that, but, and just, highlight, because, they are Olympic athletes and they are world-class athletes. But, nobody, I shouldn't say nobody, but like compared to the other throwing events, because even the other women's throwing events, they all throw relatively the same as the men, or at least close enough that's interesting. But if I'm going to be completely honest, nobody really wants to watch someone throw a jab like 65 meters. They want to see people throw like 80 plus meters or like 90 plus meters, But, I gotta give, I'm just gonna call her Mendez her props, because I cannot say that first name. Or Menéndez. I guess I can't say the second name either. But, she's a Olympic champion, 2004, 2000 bronze medalist in the Olympics, a two-time world champion, and then a whole bunch of other medals and like Europeans and all that. I'll link that in the video description, like I said. But and the former world record holder. So, and I actually just discovered all this stuff today. Shows you how underrated women's jab thrower is. I really only knew one Polish women's jab thrower, just because she was like the first 70-meter thrower in a long time to throw over 70. And the world record holder. So that's really it. So, and honestly, javelin itself, I don't really follow that much anymore, just because I think, until, Roller and Vetter come back, I'm not really interested in people throwing 88 meters in jav. But that's just me. I guess I'm just spoiled and used to people throwing over 90 plus meters. But anyway, let's get into her technique. So she does a forward 3-step and then crossover 3-step. So off the bat, she has on her forward run, normally, you want the tip down, but not that much. But it doesn't really matter, because in her drawback, it's perfectly fine. So as long as you can draw back, it's just a little, I feel like it's a little bit of a unnatural for it to be that pointed down. I generally would like it like maybe pointed down just like a little bit, but she gets into a good position, so it doesn't really matter. She obviously knows what she's doing, because at the time of that she threw this was 2005 Helsinki. I'm sorry, not Helsinki. Doha, 2006. Because wait, no, this is Helsinki. Yeah, okay, that's just an advertisement. Yeah, okay, I knew it. Yeah, this is at the World Championships. The 2005 World Champs in Helsinki, which is one of my personal favorite World Champs to just watch in all the throwing events. But in those videos on YouTube of like the full comps and stuff, or the highlight, well, not the highlights, but like, like the 30-minute version, not like the 2-hour version. But yeah, so if you want to give those a watch, those are good. But back to her, Menéndez. Really nice forward run. Now, normally you see people kind of like bounce up and down, kind of like a boxer, get some rhythm. And then some people would just take a little forward walk and then go into a sprint. Or I should say forward run, because you don't want to sprint on your forward run. So it's just a personal preference thing. You see people throw far either way. Really nice here. And then the transition is good. And what's interesting is, so when she transitions, this crossover is very high. So she gains a lot of air. And then her second crossover isn't that high. And then, so she kind of does like, what it looks like is she kind of does like a little penultimate, a crossover, and then her penultimate. So I don't really see that very much. And I think it's because she is only doing a 3-step and not like a 5 or a 7-step. So she has to make up a lot of ground. You'll notice also, so you'll normally see like jab throwers over here, like when they do like a 7-step or a 5-step, or the elite people, just because they just cover ground so fast, just because they're just animals, they're just beasts. So, but because she's only doing like a 3-step, she starts closer to the front sector line or the foul line. So that's just a thing to keep in mind. Honestly, I think that she's a very good technical model for heptathletes because it's just very simple. 3-step is, well, it's about as simple as you can get, other than just doing crossovers. It's like the simplest forward run. And the fact that she does a 3-step and throws 71 meters is actually kind of crazy. Just shows you how powerful she is. But her penultimate's really nice. Kind of has the javelin kind of down, and she throws with a wrap in jav, which just means that like her upper body's torqued a little, and it's the tail of the jav is back here instead of just being just forward, like her left shoulder just forward. So instead of pointed there, so. And some people throw with a wrap. I would say normally, unless you start throwing over like 60 plus meters in jav for men, you shouldn't really throw with a wrap because it's very hard to do. It can lead to further throws, but people throw far either way. It's just another like little thing to like gain distance if you're already like up there in distance. But like a 50-meter jav thrower should not be like doing this. For men, at least. For women, it's just a different thing, because like a 50-meter jav thrower in woman is really good. I would say when you start throwing like 60 plus meters as a woman, that's when you're like start getting up there to start like maybe qualifying for like Olympics, and that's when I consider you elite, basically. I would say it's like the equivalent to throwing like a 20-meter shot putter. A 20-meter shot putter is what I consider elite, because 20 meters will basically get you into any meet. It won't make the final in like the Olympics and the shot put, but it will get you to a world, like basically like a world championships and stuff. Not in the US, but other places. So that's what I consider elite. So, and like 65 meters is like a 21 meter throw, and then like 70 is like a 22. So, yeah, so she gets here. Very nice penultimate. And it's important when you do your penultimate that you throw, she's a right-handed thrower, so you want to pull, you want to go and start your penultimate on your left leg and not your back leg. All right, because if you go off your right leg, you're just gonna go down and you can't go up, and you won't travel as far. And you want to travel kind of far in your penultimate because you want it just to be super explosive. You kind of just want to think about it like you're kind of doing like a side broad jump a little. So she's here, gets really nice. And when you're doing your crossovers, you want to think, this is when you're right-handed, you want to feel crossovers in your groin. So your groin is very important in jav, like groin muscles. Well, I guess your groin is a muscle, but having beefy, like not beefy, but super, super strong groins, because that's where you get all of your crossover stuff. So you want to think, and the way I like to teach it, crossovers, is you want to think pull back with the when the left foot is grounded, push pull. So you're gonna push with the right foot and then pull back with the left. So let's go back to her when she starts. So right here, push, pull, push, pull, and then push penultimate. Well, I guess push block. So you want to think about like that. You don't want to think just like do like some like sideways skips, because you want to be getting some air time. You want to so you'll notice here. See how she gets a like little bounce, and it's hard to tell with her because she doesn't do that many crossovers. So, but you'll see like they have like a rhythm. It kind of looks like if you ever see like a high jumper or like like a high jumper, and they do like their run up, how like they don't just like run, they kind of like bounce a little. That's kind of what it should look like when you do your crossovers in jav. Like they kind of get like a little bit wider steps, and they don't like bounce up and down because you don't want to do that, but like it's more just air. A little air time. You don't want to stay too long in the air, but it's kind of like, it would kind of look like a little gallop. It looks like it. Don't gallop, but it looks like that. It kind of looks like a gazelle like prancing in the Serengeti or something. So you're here. Really nice penultimate. Right here. Boom. Right leg gets down. And you see right away, the right leg is already pushing forward even before the block leg gets down. That's a good thing. You don't want to think about in jav turning the right foot because you're in spikes. You want to think you just push over your left foot. Or your block leg, I should say. So you notice when her left foot, when your block leg gets down, she's not doing anything with her right. Because all that force went into the left foot, in the left side, and over the block. All right, so you notice also right here how she kind of goes on like the top side of her foot. So that's what we call in jav a foot flip. And basically what that does is it keeps you moving forward and keeps you staying down. You know, when people say like a reverse C and stuff, which I personally don't agree with in discus and shot put, but in javelin, you want a reverse C. And what I mean by that is basically when you're in this position, like she kind of gets like this kind of position where like her back is really arched, chest is up, hips are down. That's what you want. So to get that position, you got to drive this right knee. So first you got to push forward with that right foot, drive down with this right knee, like down to the ground, and then have your chest up. And that creates a big stretch right here. And then she throws it with her lat, which is what you want. In javelin, if you ever feel like you're throwing it with your elbow instead of your chest, shoulder, and lat, that's never a good sign. You should not feel that much in your elbow. If you start throwing like super far, you will. But after like a jav practice or after a couple of throws, your chest and your shoulder and your your lat should feel sore, not really your arm, you know. So, and it's kind of like the muscles you throw for discus. And that's why like usually javelin throwers are only javelin throwers, which is a good thing because there's really no crossover to jav to the other events. But if like you're in college and you have to do more than 2 events because your coach is making you, more than 1 event, then usually a good pairing is discus, just because they're like the 2 lightest. Jav and discus are the 2 lightest implements, and you release with a lot of the same muscles, and you have to really rely on stretch. So those are like the 2 better pairings, and then like hammer shot are usually a good dual pair as well. So, but yeah, that's just something to think about. And then so she gets here, and then she just kind of drags that right foot forward and she has an amazing block. So she just totally just locks this out. This right here is not a good thing. I don't think she did this on purpose because she could have easily injured herself here. Normally, you don't want your block leg to go on the outside of this foot because, you could really hurt yourself. Like that happened to Julius Yago at the 2016 Olympics, and I think it was like after his second throw, and he didn't get the chance to retaliate because he was in the lead for the longest time, and then Thomas Roller threw like over 90, which Julius Yago was totally capable of doing, and Yago's never been the same ever since. But it bumped him down from gold to silver because he couldn't compete. So that's why when you get jav spikes, if you ever do, they usually have high heels. High ankle support, and like the outside part on on your right foot is usually like reinforced because of when you're dragging it and stuff. And I'm sure like every jav thrower knows, or like people have thrown jav, if you just use like your regular just like tennis shoes, which if you're actually serious about jav throwing, I would highly recommend getting jav spikes because you will throw further with that. Like your shoes will get torn up a whole bunch just because you're just dragging your right foot so much and stuff. So that's something to keep in mind. If you're like a decathlete, high jump spikes work too. Not regular sprint spikes, but high jump spikes, because they have they're shaped a little differently and they have a little higher ankle support, and the bottoms are more like a jav spike. But jav spikes are the best for javelin, obviously. But yeah, that's something to keep in mind. But yeah, you don't really want this. You basically want in jav, this block leg, you want to land heel first or flat first. You don't want to go toe, like ball of the foot first, like you do in like shot and disc. So that's a big difference that like if you're going from jav to shot, from disc to shot and then trying to throw jav, you see a lot of things that won't carry over. Like in shot, this is the opposite of how you want to throw, with this left shoulder going down, not staying grounded and just like pushing forward. onto your left leg just like immediately. That's the total opposite of what you want to do in like shot and disc. So, and really, the only other throwing event I can think of that even resembles like carry over to jav is a glide throw, like a glide shot putter. But even then, like there are a lot more similarities. Like javelin, you kind of throw a little bit like a glide, in that you don't really stay grounded that long. It definitely leaves your hand a lot faster. You don't really rotate that much in glide. So you kind of push a little bit over your left, not as extreme as in jav, but and then like the block arm kind of does the same thing, how like it just goes down, because you don't want in jav and in glide shot, you don't want, or so in jav I should say, you don't want your left arm to go like around. You want it to just go straight down. Think about it like your hand goes to your pocket. All right, and what that does is it makes you more linear at the finish. Because if your left arm was going to go, I keep doing that, sorry. If your left arm went around, your javelin will go around and you'll throw it like a discus. Whereas if your left arm just goes straight down, you'll throw forward. You'll throw linear, which is what you want. All right, so you notice here, boom, and then the jab's out of her hand right now, and then her chest comes down. So you want to like, you'll see people, and they'll, especially beginners, and they'll try and throw with like their chest down because they've seen a video and stuff. But it's very important to remember that one, when you see like elite jab throwers and stuff, they throw so fast. It looks like they're throwing with their chest down, but that's just because they're just releasing so fast. If you stop them, their chest is like this, and their chest is up. And then one frame later, jabs out of her hand. All right, and then you throw the chest down. But you don't want to really think about throwing the chest down. That just kind of happens. All right, so she's here, and then just takes a step forward, and you can just tell right away this is an extremely strong block because she only needs one step. That's it, and she's in. Now, normally also, people are not this close to the line, especially men, are not this close to the foul line because they need a little more room to recover, but I guess she's just a badass, so more power to her, I guess. And you'll see a lot of throwers with, like a lot of jab throwers wear belts as well. That's also an important thing, especially when you get to this kind of level, just because, and if you're a jab thrower, you're always in pain, especially in your low back. You basically just live in an ice bath because, javelin's just so painful on your body. So if you're throwing like maybe like 60 to 70 plus meters, maybe wear a belt when you're taking like hard throws just to save your back, because it's so easy to get injured in jav. And yeah, I think that's all I think that's all I should cover. Yeah. So basically, for the finish, because I know some of my athletes have trouble with the finish in jav, you want to think about your lower body. Basically, the 3 steps. So once you get into your penultimate, you push forward with that right foot, and then slam this right knee down. Slam the right knee down. Keep it down, do a foot flip, and then drag, and then have your left foot come down. And you want you to keep going down with your right leg while this left leg is locked out, and then have your chest go up. Like, have your chest go up, and that creates that reverse C, which really just whips you forward. So, and this is why snake drills, and you can look up how to do like a snake drill on YouTube and stuff. But it's basically like what it sounds like. Like you could do it with a med ball or a jav, but like you start like facing forward with like your 2 feet grounded, and you go and you just put your knees forward and then like snake back, and then like basically simulating this kind of position, like this whip forward, and the sequence in which your body should move and feel like when you release the jab. So I think that's a very valuable drill. So yeah, that's something to keep in mind. And also, it's important. And whenever I make a jab video, I try and make this point. I think I actually don't remember if I made this point in my last jab video. But you don't really want to throw the actual javelin that much. You want it maybe like once a week. It's a lot of med balls, like either single hand med balls or double hand med balls, just because the javelin puts so much strain on your body. You only really want to throw it once a week, just to save your body. Just because javelin throwing is so hard on your body. You know, like all the other events, especially like discus. I mean, you can just throw forever, but no, jav throwers usually spend a lot more time drilling and throwing med balls and stuff. So to just save their elbow and their body. Because javelin throwing, I mean, yeah, you can use your muscles, but you really rely on tendon strength and elasticity of your muscles. And you know, if you overstretch, you can easily tear a muscle and stuff. And the kind of mobility and stretching you need for javelin is very extreme. It takes a very specialized kind of athlete. You have to be pretty much hypermobile, lighter weight, super well conditioned. You're basically built like a really buff, like cross between like a high jumper and a sprinter. Basically, that's basically like what a jav thrower is. And that's basically why, like, you see like a lot of multis and stuff, they'll tend to throw, like a decathlete or a heptathlete, they'll tend to throw the jab really far, just because like that's also the kind of body type you want. Just athletes, honestly. And baseball also has a pretty good carryover. They throw a little differently, but like it's a lot of the same kind of qualities you have in like a baseball thrower, like or pitcher, I guess, to a javelin thrower. Like a lot of the same type of muscles used. You kind of just throw it a little differently, but yeah. And I think that's it. Yeah, so I'll link her personal best, her height and weight, and notable accomplishments in the video description. And hope you guys learned something. See y'all later.